And welcome back. The Ambassador Hotel project has been a very interesting project for the city of Wichita, and it's gotten a lot of attention from a lot of people, including people like Bob Weeks. Bob is with a group that is actually against the project, or against the details of the project, I should say. I don't think you're against a hotel necessarily downtown, but the way it's
that's right.
It's happening. And Bob, you kind of worked with a group, headed up a group that forced this thing to a vote, which is in of itself is pretty unusual.
That is. Here in Kansas, we don't have a lot of opportunity or tradition of initiative and referendums. So when we, myself, along with Americans for Prosperity, organized the petition drive, we had no idea how to do it, what we were up against, and things like that. And I might say, Tim, I know many people see me from my regular appearances on this show, and for this segment I am speaking as the campaign chair for a Vote No organization, just to make that clear. But we were alarmed, I should say, at a package of subsidies that the Wichita City Council passed for this hotel last September. One of them, the guest tax rebate, was really such an extreme measure that it had to be passed with a special form of city ordinance known as a charter ordinance, and the Kansas Constitution provides that those ordinances cannot go into effect until a period of time has passed where there could be a protest petition. And we were successful in getting the appropriate number of signatures. We filed a successful petition. That gave the City Council two choices. One, they could have said, let's rescind the ordinance and the matter would have been over. The other path is what they took, which was to call an election, which is going to be on February 22nd for voters in the city of Wichita.
Bob, you know, let's talk about the hotel in general. First of all, you're not necessarily against a hotel in downtown Wichita.
That's right.
The building of a hotel. Why are you against this one?
Well, we feel that these type of economic development incentives that have been given to this hotel in many cases are not necessary, and in almost all cases we really believe are harmful to the overall growth of the city and the region and the state of Kansas and the country at large. For example, the Ambassador Hotel is receiving 8 levels of government-funded, taxpayer-funded subsidy programs. Those 8 programs are already baked into the cake. They're not affected by the February 28th election, and they have a cost to the taxpayer of $15.4 million by our calculation. So what the 9th program was, this guest tax rebate that is the subject of the election, that would allow the Ambassador Hotel owners, developers, to keep 75% of the guest tax they collect rather than remitting it to the city. The guest tax in Wichita is 6%. That's something that all hotels collect, and in most cases, with just a couple of exceptions, that's remitted to, well, it ends up at the city in the Convention and Tourism Fund. $6 million a year approximately. About $2.5 million of that goes to fund the Go Wichita Convention and Visitors Bureau. By the way, the subject of our open records discussion in December, but that promotes the city's tourism and convention promotion. The remaining money, around $4.5 million, goes for debt service, maintenance, and updates to Century 2. And by the way, that fund is running a $2 million loss this year, and next year the fund's balance will be nearly zero. $15,000, I believe, is the budgeted amount. One of the things we're concerned about is that since the Ambassador Hotel will not be contributing its share of guest tax, and also as it draws away business from other hotels that do pay their full share of the guest tax, we feel that other Wichitans will be asked to support the spending programs at Century 2.
Well, Bob, you know, a lot of people will say, well, gosh, it's a guest tax. It's not taxing me. I don't stay there. I'm not an out-of-town visitor. What's the harm?
Well, Tim, wouldn't you like to have a romantic getaway with your wife some weekend at a nice boutique hotel? You know, I would. So there's a trivial example there, but the real example is that the WSU study, one of the things that the Vote Yes side doesn't mention is that there's a substitution factor of 50% indicated by Wichita State, meaning that we expect that half of the business that goes to the Ambassador Hotel will be taken away from other Wichita area hotels, most of which do pay their full share of guest tax to the city. And also when we talk about jobs, that's something that's very important. As these other area hotels experience a decline in business, it's very likely that jobs or hours will be reduced at those hotels as they have reduced demand for rooms and maid service and food service and all the things like that.
Bob, you know, I've read some of the comments that appear on the website. I've you know, heard other shows that have done segments on this, and some of the people say, well, gosh, you're anti-progress. You don't want Wichita to succeed? How would you answer that?
Well, first of all, I might remind voters that the hotel developer has said many times that he will proceed and open the hotel regardless of the outcome of the vote on February 28th. To me, that means that the city council gave a subsidy that's not really needed, as evidenced by the hotel developer's own stated intention. But as far as progress goes, you know, there's 8 government programs worth $15 million that are in effect. They are not touchable by the type of referendum petition that we've done here. The city council, the downtown development economic people, they are full square behind these programs. They are really willing and able to offer these programs to people in the future. But as I've said, Tim, we really believe that these programs are harmful. TIF districts, for example, of which this hotel is a beneficiary, academic research shows that cities that use these grow slowly, more slowly overall than cities that don't. And a Washburn University economist did a study looking at the impact of jobs on by retail TIF districts. He found that overall, the use of TIF districts lowers the amount of retail employment in a city or region. Now, it's going to be very easy to walk by the Ambassador Hotel and see people at work, and that's certainly a good thing. But when we consider the overall impact on the city, it's a negative altogether.
But Bob, you know, when the city council, county commission, groups like that look at progress and building things within our city and county, there is a challenge there. We've seen this with the aircraft industry. We've seen threats of different aviation industries moving out of our area if they didn't get certain things. So there is a real challenge there to balance that taxpayer good with you know, the greater good of keeping jobs here, bringing jobs here, that sort of thing. And that's, I think, one area where people would say, gosh, if we start drawing these back, and I know we've already heard the developers wants to build here anyway, but in general, if we get that climate going, people, I think, worry that we may lose some of these industries, some of these businesses.
We've lost some of them, Tim. We poured over $650 million over a period of years into Boeing, and now they're leaving Wichita. And in a broader sense, Wichita complains that our economic development efforts are not successful, and the Wichita Eagle wrote an article about a month ago about that. We do exactly the same thing that almost every other city in the world, or city in the country does. If we were to do something different, in other words, if we were to create an environment in Wichita and Kansas where free market economics instead of political cronyism is the way we decide how to do investment, that would be a distinguishing factor for Wichita. That's something I think we could distinguish ourselves, and I believe it would be noticed by the rest of the country.
Bob, we've got about 15 seconds left in the segment. The ballot is very confusing if you read it. You want folks to vote against this.
I want people to vote no. Vote yes means the developer keeps some of the own taxes. Vote no means it all goes to the city, as is the normal, almost always course of events.
Sure. Bob, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
We're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, we'll talk with one of the developers of this project.